From the headlines that move us
to the plays on the field and the people making a difference.
It's news, sports, and stories that keep our community alive.
This is the Heartbeat of Tampa Bay.
I'm Christopher Ingram.
And I'm Sarina Fazan. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone.
We have a fantastic guest here today.
Let me tell you, this woman, I love her.
I love her too. And the work that she does.
Yes.
What's not to love?
I know.
And I love you.
Oh, thank you. Oh,
and you.
It's all about love. It's all about love. Dotti Groover-Skipper. Yes. Sometimes we go Skipper Groover.
I know.
I know, right? I do that too,
You're not the
right?
only ones that do that. It's kind of a long name, but it's a happy name.
It's a very happy name.
Well, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for asking me.
And we're going to be talking with you about a heavy subject.
Yes.
Human trafficking, which you are very heavily involved in and have been
Right.
for years. But before we do that, we want to talk about you growing up. You were a Miami Dolphins cheerleader.
I was.
Tell us a little bit about that. We're going to throw up
many
We're going
years
to throw
ago.
up on the screen and take a look at the pictures of her as a Miami Dolphins cheerleader.
Yeah, 1978 through 80. And someone, well, actually my former husband, dared me to try out. He said, "There's no way you will make it."
Get out.
Like, I'll show you.
So I'm the type of person, you tell me I can't do something, and boy, you just watch me do it. So went to the Orange Bowl. There were about 500 gorgeous dancers there. And I made the first cut.
That's
and then
awesome.
several auditions later, I made the 30 final and then the first string of the 15 main cheerleaders.
And
So
you were
it
telling us
was
before, they were called
the Starbrights.
Starbrights.
Oh.
We were the very first adult cheerleaders for any NFL team.
Really?
Even before the Cowboys, the
Wow.
Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, we were called the Starbrights in that first year after a car wash company.
Huh.
So we were called the Miami Dolphins Starbrights.
That's the picture with all those containers, right?
Starbright car polish
Right.
and
Yes.
car wash. They had picked me and two others to go to Las Vegas to do these car shows. So we were walking around in our little bathing suits and banners and pushing car wash.
Well, honestly, Dad, I've got to say, I feel like lost in your eyes all the time. They're so beautiful,
Thank
and you're
you.
still so stunning. But
you.
seriously, those pictures, hot, and
Hot mama.
even hotter.
Dottie's in the house.
I like to say I had Farrah Fawcett hair before Farrah Fawcett had Farrah
that's
Fawcett
awesome.
hair. I could have made millions.
Okay, now I got to ask you, are you still involved
I
with the
am.
organization? Any other cheerleaders? They have an
I
alumni
am.
group?
We have an alumni association. I'm actually on the board of the
Well,
alumni
we would have expected nothing less than you being on the board.
They had nominated me to be in the National Cheerleader Hall of Fame last year. As it turns out, I wasn't old enough to be in it, which is like, okay, I'll try again.
Don't hear that every day, huh?
But yeah, still very much
That's
involved.
cool. And are you, like me, a long-suffering Miami Dolphins fan?
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, they're just so painful.
Absolutely.
I always
know.
have to try to comfort him a little bit.
I know.
26 years without a playoff win.
I know. And they went to, I guess the last time they went to Super Bowl was
84.
like, oh yeah, it was after they went
Right.
before I was a cheerleader and then after I was a cheerleader. So I didn't get to experience that whole Super Bowl thing, but it was pretty exciting. And I wanted to dance under the famous June Taylor. She choreographed all of the old Jackie Gleason shows on Miami Beach. She had the June Taylor dancers, I'm aging myself, I guess, but they were, from an aerial view, they did all these formations. And anyway, I thought that's the main thing why I wanted to go and try out, because I wanted to dance under June Taylor.
And you did.
And I did.
That's super cool.
It was amazing.
That is amazing. And before we get into our serious topic, I do want to ask, have you seen cheerleading really changing, through the years, like compared to what it was?
Yes, well, even back then we were more dancers than cheerleaders, and I think that's the case now. But now it's like the athleticism that's expected is wild. I mean, there's no way even back then I could do all the athletic feats that the cheerleaders do.
What's your thought on male cheerleaders in the NFL?
Why not?
I think it's ridiculous. It is so stupid. I'm sorry. It's just a bad idea. They look ridiculous.
Well, as long as they don't wear little skirts and things like that. But, you know, that strength is helpful, you know,
That's exactly what I
for
said.
the athletic feats and the flipping up in the air and all of that.
Bad idea. All right.
But it was just, back then, it was actually a very transformational time for me being a cheerleader. I came from a very squeaky clean childhood and thrown into a world that was kind of wild and crazy.
Even back in the 70s, huh?
Even back in the 70s, but it really taught me or showed me what lines I was willing to cross and what lines I was not willing to cross,
cool.
even back then. Even back then, I was a mother hen that was
Were you
taking
really?
care of all the other cheerleaders. Oh, Dotti will come get us if we have too much to drink. Dotti will come get us if this party gets too crazy. And
That's cool.
And I did.
Well, that's a reflection of who you are. I mean, people that
I
know you,
guess.
that's exactly who you are.
And you know, I didn't want to disappoint my dad. I think that's the whole reason I have not crossed many lines. Maybe I've crossed a couple, but
You want to share those?
no, that's another show. But I didn't want to disappoint my dad.
Very cool.
Well, you know, as Christopher just mentioned about your caring spirit, innately that is who you are, and it brings us to such the important and impactful work that you're doing in helping to stop human trafficking. I mean, the state of Florida ranks number 3 in the country.
Correct.
And our county, I mean, Hillsborough County alone is what, number 2 in the state?
It's the rankings keep changing, but we're up there. We're one of the top destination spots, and we've held that. Florida has held that for 7 years at least. 3rd in the nation for human trafficking.
So I got to ask you, we hear about this and we hear different elements of what it is. And I think the most common thing when I think of human trafficking is it's people, mostly young women, who are exploited from overseas, or they're in a situation here where they're taken advantage of. They're not necessarily assimilated into the community. And so people take advantage of that. What among that and other things, what other types of human trafficking do we see? And what should parents and particularly young women be concerned about to recognize that this could be a threat situation?
Right. Actually, human trafficking is happening right here under our noses. It's not only something that happens in other countries, it's happening right here, as evidenced by Florida being 3rd in the nation. The United States is a top destination spot for other countries. Every single country in the world experiences human trafficking. But the United States, I think because it's one of probably the wealthiest country in the world, a lot of countries will send their traffickers will send their victims over here because they can make more money. But it's happening here under our noses, right here in the state of Florida, in the Tampa Bay area. And our kids are really groomed mostly online these days. So I could be sitting in a chair and I could be being trafficked just from sitting in my own bedroom, sitting in my own chair, because of the grooming that takes place online.
So how do they kind of trap them? Like, what are they grooming, and how do they attract these people into it?
Let's say a young girl doesn't have to it's not only girls
right.
and women.
The population, I was going to say, it's very scary on how many young boys
That's right.
now are. The numbers keep on climbing, right, Dotti?
They do keep on climbing. Boys are almost as prevalent now as girls. And a lot of it, the LGBTQ community is really targeted, especially for boys. Unfortunately, a lot of parents whose kid comes out to them, they kick them out of the house, they're on the street, and then a predator comes along and says, I'll take you in, you can be part of our family. And they take them in, they build the trust, and this is part of the grooming process, not only with our boys, but our girls too. Part of the grooming process where the perpetrator gains the trust of them through their vulnerabilities, And then once they have that love and that trust, it's like, okay, I've done this for you. Now this is what you need to do for me, because you owe me for putting a roof over your head. You owe me for the drugs I'm giving you. You owe me. So you need to go make this amount of money and bring it back to me. So that's really how our kids get sucked in. So online is really a big grooming grounds, just building trust online. The boys, video games in the video chat rooms. Predators will find those vulnerabilities and zero in on those, build relationship with boys in particular through video games. I worked a case one year with St. Pete Police Department, actually, where a 16-year-old was lured in by a predator through a video game. The kid lived, I think, in Alabama, and this predator lived in St. Pete. So he built this relationship. The man drove from St. Pete to Alabama, picked up this kid, and brought him back. The kid thought he was going to be living with a nice uncle who would understand him and take care of him. The kid ended up being a sex slave for over a year with 4 men that lived in that house.
Gosh, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
You know,
He's behind bars now.
Oh, that's good.
Exactly where he needs to be.
Yeah.
Dottie, and also, you know, like, you've been involved in some of the specials I've even done on human trafficking. Please also set the record straight for people, because, you know, I'll talk to parents about this, and they're like, oh, but, you know, that doesn't happen to, like, our kids, like that, no way. It happens to everybody.
Absolutely.
Everybody.
Absolutely.
It could be a child who's maybe, their parents maybe are going through a divorce, or maybe a child that's being bullied at school. And you know, that one story I think you told me about, the Chick-fil-A story, was it the Chick-fil-A story? If you could share that one.
Yeah, well, there's several. It might have been Johnny Rockets.
Oh, Johnny Rockets. I'm sorry, yeah,
Yes,
Johnny Rockets.
Yes, it was a middle school girl. We caution parents not to just drop your kids off at the mall, because this is what happens. For parents, go with your kid. You can hang out at a Starbucks or something, be that grounding point where your child knows that you're there. But this one girl had a fight with her mother. She got dropped off at the mall, and traffickers can spot vulnerability from far, far away. And they're called Romeo pimps, or the young, nice-looking guys that are used to attract
the girls,
like a middle school girl. So he was able to pick up on her vulnerability from across the mall. I don't know how, but he found a way to meet her. So he started walking. In front of them, he dropped his wallet, so she tripped over him and then helped him pick up his wallet. And oh, thank you, can I take you for a Coke? So she said, sure, because he's this cute young man.
Yeah.
So they went to Johnny Rockets, and he built her trust, and they became girlfriend and boyfriend. And once he knew that he had her in his trust, he said, if you love me, this is what you'll do for me.
And so where did she end up?
Well, I don't know the end of that story, but she ended up being sold by him over and over and over again until I think authorities or the mother finally figured out something was off. Yeah, and it happens that easily.
Was that local?
That was local.
Yeah, that was local. And you know what happens too sometimes?
International Mall.
Yeah.
International Mall. Wow.
International Mall. Can you believe that?
Where you drug me.
Yeah, that's right. On
Not drugged.
Yeah, on Black Friday. You know, that's
I
how close we are.
I
That's
saw
how
you
close
took
we are.
him to Label Swap.
I did.
All right.
Yes,
I love
yes,
it.
yes.
I met her at Label Swap once.
That's funny.
We had Christopher Pearson on our show, in fact, the
Owns
owner of
Label
Label,
Swap,
the owner of Label Swap. But no, see, the expression on your face, you were shocked, right, that it was International Mall. Again, it happens everywhere, and sometimes what these sick people will do, then they'll start threatening your family.
Absolutely.
And if you don't do this, you know, we know your dad, or we know your mom, or we know your sister. We're gonna go after them, and we're gonna kill them, or you know.
Yeah, there is another story. I have so many stories. They'll just have to get the hook from me.
I think it's good if people recognize what to kind of look out for and how to beware.
A young girl at Plant High School she was straight A student. She met this young, good-looking Romeo pimp at a party, and he put drugs in her drink, and she passed out. He took photos of her in compromising positions, and then said, "Okay, unless you want me to spread this to everybody you know, including your parents, including your pastor and youth group, then this is what I want you to do for me." So while her parents thought she was at after-school activities, she was actually being bought and sold by this young man to his friends and older men.
It's so horrible. So, Dotti,
Yeah.
like stories like that, right? Because that genuinely, I mean, it could happen.
Yeah.
So, what would you say if you get threatened like that, a young boy or girl, gets threatened like that, and I know they're scared, what should they do?
Yeah, I would, first, I think it's so important to have an open communication with your children, and that's not always easy, especially in the teenage years where, they kind of close off. But it's so important to be open and have that free access and conduit communication with your child. So, and have these conversations with them. If there's anything suspicious going on, or if there's anything that is happening in your child's life, that they would feel comfortable, even if they've been threatened, like, "Hey, Mom, this is what happened at this party, Mom, and I'm afraid this guy's gonna really come after all of us." So first and foremost, our kids have to have that comfort and that safe space to talk to, if it's not a parent, to a trusted adult.
Yeah, I was going to say, what would you say to a young woman or a man, boy, if they're facing this and they don't have that type of good communication between their parents? Who should they reach out to? Who can they go to that's going to believe them and help them get out of that situation?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully there's maybe a school guidance counselor or a social worker or someone at school. If they go to church, maybe a youth pastor. However,
Coach.
A coach. However, some of those situations,
Get out of control.
a lot of predators go into fields where they are around children. So, that's a tough question, Chris. I wish I had the exact answer, but it's so important for kids to find that one trusted individual that they can say anything to that person without judgment.
I mean, I think you would probably say, based on your knowledge of how bad these situations can become, that there's nothing that is going to be worse than you being in a human traffic situation. Like, your mom and dad might get mad at you because you fell vulnerable to these people, but like the situation you're going to get in if you don't talk to someone is far worse.
Right. And my definition of human trafficking, there's a long federal definition, but I like to shorten it so it's more understandable. My definition is the business of the exploitation of vulnerabilities for another person's gain. That kind of sums it all up, because predators will look at those, find those vulnerabilities and figure out how to exploit them for their own gain.
So what are some of the warning signs that people can be on the lookout for, either to identify a human trafficker, and also, I think, to talk about if someone is being trafficked? What are the signs for those?
Yeah, that's challenging as well. There's general signs, but the Polaris Project, who is a national organization who is housing the National Human Trafficking Hotline, they determined that there are 25 different trafficking buckets, and each of those trafficking buckets had their own signs to look out for, like in the construction industry, in the fishing industry, in the nail salons, massage industry. I mean, there's so many different aspects of trafficking, but I would say generally with youth, if your child comes home with a cell phone that you didn't give them, any kind of jewelry that you don't
recognize,
don't know where they came from, because traffickers like to brand their product, and sometimes youth they won't use tattoos, which they do with adults, so they like to give them objects of endearment like necklaces, jewelry, cell phones, getting their nails done,
kind of spoiling them, making them feel important, kind of thing.
Taking them to expensive restaurants. So if your child suddenly starts wearing more provocative clothing, or any change of behavior, that could certainly be a sign. And I like to tell people, if you feel something in your gut, listen to it.
Right.
And don't be afraid to pick up the phone. If it's something that you're seeing right in front of you and you're very suspicious, it's okay to call 911. You can remain anonymous. I've done that a few times when I was driving down Nebraska Avenue or Florida and I saw something that just didn't sit right with me. It's okay to go ahead and call the 911. And then obviously the National Human Trafficking number.
So I wanted to ask too, Florida though has really tried to step up legislation.
Right.
And there has been a huge push for that, which you've also been, heavily involved in, Dotti.
right.
So can you talk about some of the things that the lawmakers have done
Yes.
to curb this?
Yes, well, starting way back in the early 2000s, I worked on legislation, the Safe Harbor Act, which was an act that, children cannot be considered prostitutes. If a child is under the age of 18, you cannot arrest her or him for prostitution. So we had to have a law that would state children cannot be considered prostitutes. So starting way back there, Florida led the way in that. Over the years, about 4 or 5 years ago, worked on legislation that human trafficking curriculum had to be in every single school district, all 67 counties in the state of Florida. So they're expanding on that now and really ramping that up. So I'm very happy, that has passed, because our kids are the targets for the most part and need to be educated in very practical ways. There's legislation we've been trying to get passed now for about 3 years. And I don't know how it's going to do this legislative session. We're keeping our fingers crossed that that it would be a felony to solicit prostitution. And we're running into a lot of pushback with that. But it's a felony if you tamper with an alligator egg here in
Isn't
the
that
state of
something?
Florida. And it's only a misdemeanor if you buy someone for sex.
No way.
So we are working to get
And where's the
that.
resistance? Is it law enforcement because they don't have to lock all these people up, or that just behooves me? Why is there resistance to that?
Resistance is from some of our policymakers. I think, some of the pushback is, okay, what about the young and dumb college kid who just wants to go have a good time and his rite of passage, for the first time. So that's their pushback. And our pushback is, what about that young girl who now has a life sentence because she was raped?
Right.
So that's
And
been
the emotional damage it does to her.
And the-
right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
we're putting this hypothetical situation more on the interest of the person who's the perpetrator than the victim, which
Right.
seems just
Right.
counterintuitive and asinine, really.
We're really focusing on the demand, because
Yeah.
it's not the traffickers that drive the demand, it's the buyers. So it's the buyers are the ones driving the demand, the traffickers are the distributors of the product, and the product are the victims. So we're really focusing on the demand. If we focus on the buyers and make some of the penalties really harsh, then hopefully we would see a dent in this issue.
And really, I'm just floored that you have met with legislators and other policymakers who have said, well, but what about the 19-year-old boy that, we
have.
don't want him to have this record. Well,
I
guess
won't
what?
name names.
Don't go out and do something stupid. How about we start with that, and then you
Right.
won't have to worry about having a record.
Right.
That blows my mind.
I know.
You'll have to tell us
So
after
keep us in mind. The legislative session starts next week, so we'll be up in Tallahassee,
All right.
working on that.
You're always an advocate for groups like this and just the work that you do, and being in the Florida Women's Hall of Fame and advocating women's issues. You're just such a real person in our community to look up to, and we've just been so glad to have you here today.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Now her picture,
Sarina.
of course, is also hanging up
Hang
in
up
the
in the
rotunda.
Capitol.
It is. My picture's
my
in the
God.
rotunda of the Florida Capitol building. It's surreal.
Well, tell us, Dotti, what can someone do if they want to get involved and help out, or raise awareness or make a financial contribution to
Right.
organizations that help fight human trafficking?
Right. I would say find an organization in our amazing community. We have a robust community of anti-trafficking organizations, mine included, Heart Dance Foundation. Come along beside them and learn the signs, learn how you can really get involved. I think that would be a great way to do it. Hillsborough County has a human trafficking commission I'm vice chair of, so you can get involved that way. There's an organization called the Safe Alliance where the community comes together, all the anti-trafficking orgs to make a difference. And then, you know, of course, my own organization.
Yeah, tell us about that, Heart Dance.
Heart Dance Foundation was founded about 18 years ago. I've been in the field for over 40, but about 20 years ago, I wanted to find a way to go deeper, to figure out where are those that are being trafficked, where would they be? So we determined that the strip clubs are where they would be. And so we've been going into the strip clubs for 18 years now. And sure enough, many of the women working in the strip clubs are under pimp control and they are trafficking victims. So we help them with a safety plan to get out when they're ready, and then connect them to incredible resources to help them, you know, in their journey, become whole, productive citizens.
Feel better about themselves.
Yeah,
and-
yeah.
You mentioned earlier a human trafficking hotline number. Is there one specific number?
The national number is 1-888-373-7888. I'm pretty sure that's
We'll
correct.
double check and
double
we'll
check.
put it up
Yeah,
on the
and
screen.
we'll put it on the
And
screen.
there is a Florida number. The former Attorney General Ashley Moody saw the need for a Florida hotline number. I think it's FLA Safe.
FLA Safe, okay.
I think.
We'll
So
definitely-
double check
Yeah,
that.
we'll double check
I
and
want to
get it
make
up
sure
there.
I'm giving the
Well,
correct
Dotti,
info.
thank you so much for being here with us
Thank
today.
you. Thank you both.
Really, the community thanks you for the work that you do.
Thank you.
You
Thank
just make
for-
the world a better place, Dotti.
So do y'all.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you.
Every story shared
Adds another heartbeat to Tampa Bay.
from courage to community.
We are so proud to tell the stories that keep our neighborhood strong.
Thanks for watching The Heartbeat of Tampa Bay.